Pacers' first win in Summer League in Game 3. They get it done late. Jarace Walker was awesome in the fourth quarter. Furphy was good again. Ben Shepherd is done. So much more to get to from the Pacers' first victory in Vegas, and we'll talk about it today on the Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, y'all? Happy Wednesday, and welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers. As always, my name's Tony East. I cover the team for Forbes and SI, and today we are talking about Pacers Summer League Game 3. They get a win. Doesn't matter. Results don't matter in Summer League, but they're in the win column. I suppose that's better than not. Jarace Walker was awesome in the fourth quarter. Furphy hit a massive clutch no-dip 3. Tale of two halves for some players. Dakota Mathias keeps looking good. So much to get to. Ben Shepherd's done playing as the Pacers have finished 3 games in Summer League and have primarily played everybody. Last year, after 2 games, no more Isaiah Jackson, no more Ben Mathurin, no more Andrew Nembhard, and it was a quick pivot into deeper rotations of different guys. This year, a lot of guys still playing, which speaks a lot about what they're trying to get out of Summer League, the state of the back of their roster, competition for contracts, all sorts of stuff. We only saw one new player today, Samson Frawling, and Josiah Jordan James did play for a minute or two. I did forget about that, but this is such as life for the Pacers, and so we will start with the returnees. If you're new to these Summer League recaps, this is broken down into 3 sections. The returnees, so guys currently with a contract for next season, that's Jarace Walker, Ben Shepherd, and Kendall Brown. We do a draft pick section, which is the guys who were just picked in the second round, so Furphy, Newton, and Freeman. And then we close with the in contention for or on a two-way, which is Quentin Jackson, Oscar Tshiebwe, and Dakota Mathias. Even though none of them technically have a two-way, 2 qualifying offers, and Mathias is eligible. We have to start with the returnees. We'll get the quickest one out of the way first. That's Ben Shepherd. We are done talking about Ben Shepherd at Summer League. He's done. He did not play. I suppose it's possible he plays again, but they don't just randomly sit a guy and then put him back in. He's probably done. What is there to see? What was there to see in the first place was kind of always the take about Ben Shepherd. I literally asked him to his face, like, hey, your game is not really a Summer League game. What do you want to show? And he didn't really show a ton of off the dribble juice, but the defensive pressure in the beginning of the first game was NBA level. He's done. It doesn't matter. In his place, Enrique Freeman started, which he's big. He's not a guard. So how did that shift everything down? Jarace Walker at the 2, Furphy 3, Freeman 4, Tshiebwe 5 to open the game. And Tristan Newton started in Quentin Jackson's place. We'll get to that later. But no more Ben Shepherd. There wasn't a ton to learn anyway. Maybe he would look awesome with some new added skills. Not a ton there. Which I suppose is noteworthy in a way, but there's no reason for him to play anymore in this game. Let's get to Jarace Walker, who was the highlight of the game to me, led the team in scoring. Turnovers, a problem once again, like the first game, but a lot of other very good stuff that made it a very serviceable and positive game, especially in the fourth quarter when he really took over this game. Walker finishes with 19 points, a ton of that coming in the fourth quarter. And the game started pretty interestingly because, he had this pick and roll play where he found Furphy in the corner for a 3, and then he hit a 3, and then he set up Furphy for another corner 3. And like all this stuff was really clicking for him early in the game in a way that I thought, wow, man, Jarus looks good on offense and all this stuff. But then he just got completely blown by on the defensive end on one play, and he had a bunch of turnovers. And so he hit halftime, -2, 3 turnovers, 5 points on 1 of 2 shooting with 4 assists. So, yeah, it was like a good enough game, I guess. He didn't look miserable. The passing was good, right? You're happy with 4 assists if you're the Pacers, but could have been a little better, right? He had some physical drives, which was progress. That wasn't as much the case last game when he took a bunch of threes. I talked about that after the last one. That was better. His defense got better after the first quarter where it looked a little lazier there, but he really in the second half to me turned and played the game. That was probably to me his best half of Summer League was the second half of this game. He played 18 minutes and he had the perfect balance of aggression, looking for his shot, finding the right passes, playing defensively. The turnovers were a problem, right? That's been a problem for him all Summer League. A little too sloppy of a handle at times. Some extra aggressive passes, but his second half Final tally in 18 of 20 minutes again. 4 for 5 from the field, hit 3 threes, 3 foul shots, 14 points, +9, 2 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal as they get it done. And a lot of that exclusively came in the fourth quarter. He played the whole fourth quarter and had 7 points in that stretch. He dominated late, right? That it really saved the Pacers how good his fourth quarter was. He was banging with David Roddy, right? His nickname is literally Big Body David Roddy, and Jarace Walker was battling that dude. Like, that's the physicality the Pacers want to see. He did a really good job in that way, in a way that has been kind of up and down for him, and they've been talking about that being a big thing for him in Summer League. And just offensively, you saw some refinement in that second half. Something else that he keeps doing that matters a lot to maybe just me personally. But if you remember when Caitlin Cooper and I did our season review series, one of our big focuses with Jarus was his transition play, right? And specifically his transition passing, where sometimes his read of the game was good and his processing of it was good. And the execution of what he should do about it with a pass was always too fast or like inaccurate. He had a lot of very high transition turnover rate, in a way that on the Pacers and for what they want Jarace Walker to be, you'd like that to be a little more correctly tailored to what he could do. And I keep being impressed, even though they're kind of shoving ball handling, point guard responsibilities down his throat in some of these Summer League games, with the way he's able to scan and canvas when he's in transition, right? I think that's been a really good thing for him in these games. He did that a lot in this game, right? Some of that is because he's doing very well on the glass and then is able to push from there. 4 rebounds in this game and 5 assists, most of which came in that first half. So really an interesting game for Walker, where the defense was not good early and then it picked up, and the offense was really good right away, and then it faded away, and it came back in the fourth quarter. So kind of like a different all sorts of stuff. But in general, I thought the second half of this game was the best he's played and the best balance he's shown of, get my own shot, get other guys involved, run stuff, be physical, be in condition, right? He closed the game playing all 10 minutes of the fourth, right? That was really both of the Jarus that I think the Pacers want to see, the Jarus in part that I want to see, the Jarus that Jarus wants to see, right? That all really mattered, and it got the Pacers over the finish line. They were ahead late and then behind late, and if you look at the chart of the lead, 14 lead changes. Suns were up with like 3 minutes to go, and the Pacers got this one done. Very dramatic game, and Jarus was a huge part of the Pacers getting it done. I don't know if I would say this or this first game was in total better. I would probably say this one was better. That second half, though, his best half of Summer League so far in Game 3 as the Pacers get it done. Kendall Brown. Tale of two halves for Kendall Brown. First half for Kendall Brown, not very good, right? Got the tweets returning of people being like, hey, this is not good for a guy fighting for a spot on the team. Kendall Brown's first half, 0 for 2 from the field, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, 3 fouls, -9. That's very bad. Remember, he has a non-guaranteed contract that becomes guaranteed if he's on the team on opening night. He had a very good first game and a very not good second game, which we talked about after the last show. They both matter equally, right? They are both just one game. So that half mattered. It swung the balance away from his Summer League. The second half was great again. A little bit more of a return to form of the first game. 7 shot attempts, and it just is so obvious when he's doing a good job of combining ball skills with his athleticism to get to the rim. 2 free throw attempts. He made both of them. He scored 10 points in that half. No turnovers in the second half. 3 rebounds, 2 blocks, an assist, +13 team high for Kendall Brown in that second half. He also really changed his game from the first half to the second. He had a really nice take and finish in that third quarter that really kind of ignited his game and turned it around. A really nice half. So because this game was split and because the first game and the second game were split so far, I'll break it down into halves of games. We've had 6 halves of games. In 3 of them, Kendall Brown has looked much better than a lot of other guys on the floor and shown some progress, especially as a rim attacker with the ball. In the other 3, he has not been good enough for what he needs to be as an offensive player, as a shooter, or in general as a connective piece. So I wonder if he'll play again, maybe one more game to see what his total Summer League could end up looking like. That is what the returnees showed in this game. Let's now move to the draft picks and another awesome game from Johnny Furphy as well as Enrique Freeman and Tristan Newton. We have to talk about Tristan Newton starting, Enrique Freeman starting. So much to get to with the second round picks here on Locked On Pacers. Before we get to any of that, though, we've got to talk about FanDuel. It's the summer. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop, but the playoffs, have wound down in the NBA. It's over in the NHL. We get fewer games in the summer, a lot of baseball, some WNBA, and less other stuff. In general, the sports aren't sportsing like most want to. FanDuel, thankfully, lets you keep the sports going whenever you want. All you got to do, open the app and dream up bets anytime you're in the mood. This summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every single day all summer long. Just head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer with a daily boost or daily bonus on FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Back here on Locked On Pacers, thanks for making us your first listen today and every single day your second listen. Locked On Knicks, they just signed Campaign. Locked On Bucks, because Doc Rivers just revealed during the Bucks-Clippers broadcast that Chris Middleton's having had surgery this offseason. That just completely came out of nowhere. I triple checked that hadn't been reported. It hadn't. Okay, Doc Rivers, look at that. Yeah, lots of random news on Tuesday around the NBA. Tomorrow here, speaking of second listens, Esfandiar Barahini is going to join. We already recorded it. We're going to talk about Andrew Nembhard in Canada in the spirit of yesterday's show about Tyrese Haliburton, Team USA, what that's all going to look like. Andrew Nembhard, Canada, how he's learning from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jamal Murray. We talk about Mathurin and training camp. Lots of good stuff on that show. Since it's already recorded, I can talk a lot about it. Let's talk about the returning, and by returning, I mean the new draft picks who have played in every game so far. Amazingly, Johnny Furphy played a really good game, and I don't have a ton of notes on him. Really good as a stretch. He was 2 for 6 on twos. I think the 6 is more important than the percentage, given how he plays. He hit the biggest shot of the game, so it's going to kind of overshadow some of the rest of the stuff. Final stat line for Johnny Furphy, 18 points, plus 3, 7 boards, 4 offensive rebounds. If you remember the first show of Summer League when they played the Nets, I was sitting 2 feet away from him when he got a rebound, and it was just a rebound. All he did is get a rebound with a Nets player right next to him. But he grabbed that thing in a way that just showed how good his hands are, even in traffic. He never fumbles rebounds, right? The ball hits his hands, and he's got it. And he's not the strongest guy yet, but that's really encouraging. His hands are good. He was good on the glass again in this game. 7 in total. Only player on the Pacers with more was Enrique Freeman. That's good stuff. 1 assist, 2 steals, 1 block for Furphy. Really nice block. 3 turnovers, 4 fouls. That stuff's got to be a little better. Plus 3 in total. 4 made threes. That's great. He's been a great shooter throughout Summer League. He hit the dagger in this game. It was a very, very, very close game late until he rose up in the final seconds with the Pacers up by, I believe, 2 at the time. I'm double checking right now. I believe it was 94-92. And the deep clock possession, Jarace Walker, beautiful skip pass to the opposite corner to Kendall Brown. Very heads-up play from Kendall Brown to flip it to Furphy instead of just taking the shot himself. And Furphy, a very low dip, no dip really. 3, drilled it, put the game away. That put the Pacers over 94 points, which is what the Suns finished at. So that was officially the dagger. Really impressive shot, a lot of poise. Tough 3. Defenders were pretty close to him. They knew he had to shoot it, and he still hit it. In general, again, he's gotten better to me at feeling out the game, figuring out where his attacks are coming from when he doesn't need and doesn't have the chance to get a 3 up. I'm just now noticing that NBA.com's box score and ESPN's have a different number of offensive rebounds for Furphy. Actually, had 4 offensive rebounds and 8 rebounds in total. Either way, in that way, he had a really nice game. I said earlier, I didn't have a lot of notes for him in this game. He had a dunk early that was very impressive on an alley-oop. And then the really noteworthy sequence from him on consecutive plays, I believe it might have been 2 out of 3. He was guarding David Roddy for a few possessions. I keep using David Roddy because he's like big and physical. He's like an okay NBA player, definitely a below average NBA player. But he blew up a DHO in a really impressive way. He slid in before they were able to get the handoff to Roddy. Ball went out off the Suns. Pacers ball, really big play. I believe that was his only steal of the game. He might have had one other one, but that was a really big play. And then the 2 possessions later, they're attacking him in the paint, and he gets a clean block on a shot, free throw line-ish. Really good defensive sequence for him there. 2 good games in a row. The clutch shot helps, and he had, there was their leading scorer 2 games ago. He's looked more comfortable every single game of Summer League so far. I assume he'll keep playing, and he's done a very good job of taking advantage of his minutes, showing what he can do, evolving as a player. Hard not to like what Johnny Furphy has done so far. I wouldn't say he's like blown away expectations, but certainly met them throughout Summer League so far. That's all you can ask of the 35th pick, and clearly has a skill that you can be happy with if you're the Pacers, and that's that he gets up threes, man. He knows how to get open and take the shots when he has the chance, and three-point attempt rate is one of the most correlated skills between Summer League and the NBA. Again, we'll talk about that in the Summer League wrap-up once everything is done. Tristan Newton started. Interesting. Look, Quentin Jackson, for all the stuff I thought he would be in Summer League, he's just not a point guard. He's a scoring guard. Tristan Newton's been a better passer. I love tall passers. Tristan Newton had 6 assists in this game. That tied, ironically, Quentin Jackson for the most on the team, although it took Newton more minutes to get there. Only 2 turnovers for Newton. That's a big cleanup. He had a really rough end of third quarter stretch in the last game, much better there. He had 4 rebounds. He had 3 steals. 10 points for Tristan Newton. We'll talk about why that's a little misleading in a second. That all sounds great. He was 1 for 9 from the field. He missed his first 8 shots, I believe. His one make was massive, huge and one play late in the game. I believe that put the Pacers ahead for the last time. He got 8 free throw attempts up. Big guard getting free throws I love, because early in the game, after he started, his first 2 or 3 shots, let me find his shot chart, I believe. NBA.com is very nice enough to give us shot charts. Yes, they do. Early in the game, he kept taking shots not at the rim. In fact, in the whole game of his 8 shots, 6 of them were outside the circle, and 5 of them were like 10 feet or farther. So if you look at his in the paint shots, 3 of them are technically in the paint, but they're not. Some free throw liney jumpers. His one make was like just outside the jump ball circle. In general, I just wanted him to get more to the rim throughout the game, right? Off of screens, off of drives, take one more dribble. Just get one dribble farther. You're a big guard. You're going to be able to get these shots up. And I get being tempted by the floater if it's there, if you can see the rim, but I think he'd be well served by one more dribble. And I hate to use one play to prove my point, but his and one that put the game away was exactly that. He took off from about, like I said, just a step inside that jump circle, drew the foul, hit the tough shot. Big play there. Take that extra dribble, get to the spots. The 0 for 7 start was tough, like rough offensive game in the non-passing activity section, but his defense is good because of his size. The 3 steals and a block were impressive. So a fine game from Tristan Newton. I think them starting him shows what they think about his passing ability compared to Quentin Jackson's right now, and he did fine. I want to see more Tristan Newton. I'm infatuated by what he could be in his summer league's been, the passing's been good, a lot of a mixed bag with the other stuff, but I get why they made that change to the starting 5. Speaking of starting 5, Enrique Freeman. I have 2 notes for Enrique Freeman. How boring is this? He started. Cool. He also closed the game instead of Oscar Tshiebwe. Cool. That's literally everything I typed about Enrique Freeman during this game. Bad note-taking from me. It's not that he didn't stand out. 9 rebounds. I mean, he's like tall, right? He's 6'9", 6'10", but he's not ginormous. He just hustles a spot off. Like, the notes are going to be the same for Enrique Freeman every single game. Good luck trying to keep him away from the ball. He's got a nose for it. He makes smart plays with it. Only 2 turnovers, only 1 foul. He had a steal and a block, 9 rebounds. Again, led the team. He did one other thing that I'm gonna keep a note of this. He hit another 3. I clipped it even. I think it's on my Twitter feed if you want to see it. That's his second 3 of Summer League. And I remember I talked about this with him. He did a few after 2023. The 2022-23 college season, did a few NBA draft workouts. He went back to school, and he mentioned that a lot of feedback was like, you got to be a more modern center, right? You can be a double-double machine, but you got to be a more modern center. And so he took 3s, right? I think he made like 4 or 5 in total. His first 4 seasons at Akron, he took 2 a game in his last year there. He made a decent enough percent of them. So I would have no idea if he's going to be an NBA shooter, but he tried to add it. And he made the 4-point play in the last game. He made another 3 in this one. I'm just keeping an eye on it. I have no idea if it's a thing. It's way too early to say any sort of maybe Enrique Freeman can shoot kind of stuff. But an encouraging player. Again, still probably, I think everyone would say, compared to expectation, the best pacer in Summer League with another fine game. Starting and closing says a lot about how they feel about his performances, what he's done, what he can do for them. Certainly a lot to get some contract. I mean, a lot of guys are, but a lot to get some contract from the Pacers into the season. 3 more guys to get to. 2 of them have 2-way contract qualifying offers floating out there. One is just a total free agent who's trying to get back into the NBA and has certainly done everything he can to do that. We'll talk about all those guys to close out today's show. Before we get to that, though, we have to talk about eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience, the formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You will always find exactly what you were looking for. Plus, with eBay's guaranteed fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time. You're going to get your money back because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay's guaranteed fit is only available to U.S. customers. We're back here once again on Locked On Pacers. Thanks for making us your first listen today and every single day. The Pelicans look good in Summer League. They just signed Carlo Mitrovic. I might have said his name wrong. Locked On Pelicans could be your second listen. Reed Shepard still looks awesome in Summer League. Alex Sarr went 0 for 16. What? Locked On Wizards. Lots of places to go for your second listen. I watched Sarr's debut. I thought it looked pretty good. He had some nice, tight little passes. He made a three right in front of me, and then he apparently sucked today. I didn't even see it. I need to watch it. Let's finish up with the last grouping of guys. The fighting for a two-way, maybe a roster spot, I don't know, group. Two of them, again, were on two-ways last year. Our restricted free agents and Oscar Tshiebwe and Quentin Jackson. One is Dakota Mathias, and I'll start with him. Look, man, Dakota Mathias told us he came into Summer League. You know, I think he was in Europe, and then he came back over because he's trying to get back in the NBA, right? He played for the Grizzlies for part of a season. He played for the Sixers for part of a season. That's it. He has 14 games. But I said before Summer League, I said he's played in the NBA before. He's got some experience. He's a good player, right? He's probably going to play. And he's been the only guy in the rotation who's not like in the Pacers orbit in some way in terms of on a two-way last year, could be on one this year, a draft pick, whatever. He's just playing. He's in the rotation every game, and he's been good. You know, a lot of you knew him already. Maybe not a lot of you. Some of you knew him already because he played at Purdue, and I don't want to totally just rehash his college career on this show, but he was a shooter at Purdue, right? 3-point percentage his senior season, 2017-18, 46.6% on almost 6 attempts per game, right? 206 threes, he made 96 of them. The year before, he shot 45.3% on 4.5 attempts per game. All of college, he shot 42% on 600 attempts, right? So I could kind of care less about his, and I know he's a good shooter watching him in general, but kind of care less about his 14-game NBA sample size. Like, there's a good chance this guy's a shooter. He was really good on offense in the second game. And again today, 5 for 8 from the field. He only took 3 threes. He took 5 twos and made 4 of them. He showed some refinement, 11 points, leading the bench in scoring. 2 fouls, 1 turnover, 1 assist, 1 rebound. Not enough there, but if you can make jump shots, you have a place in the NBA. He is two-way contract eligible. I have no idea if the Pacers are actually interested in signing him to a two-way deal or a standard deal at all, but he made a few shots in this game. 2 of them, I'll pull up his shot chart while I'm talking, where he was on the 3-point line. Yeah, 4 of them. Geez. All of them were like this. He was on the 3-point line. He got run off. He took 1 dribble. He launched a 15-footer wide open because he made it open because he was, very controlled running off the line, and he drilled it. His first make of the game was an in-the-lane jumper. All right. You do you, Dakota Mathias. You can make that shot. You can run guys off the line. You can make threes. You're a good player. If he keeps this up, I'm not saying he's going to be on the team or that he deserves a roster spot or that he deserves a two-way, but we'll talk about it because he's played well so far by making these shots. The guys who are more in the orbit because they were on the actual Pacers last year and played in games for the Pacers last year and are restricted free agents, Quentin Jackson, Oscar Tshiebwe. What did we see? Quentin Jackson out of the starting 5. Already talked about it. It makes sense. He's a good player. He's played much better since his first game. Not really a point guard. Miscast in that role. And yet, still, his first game, no doubt, awful. I already talked about it. I said big L for me. I thought he'd look good in Summer League. He hasn't. And then since then, he's missed 1 shot, and it was a buzzer beater the whole time. Since then, he is 7 for 7 on non-buzzer beaters and has been much better in just about every other way. Quentin Jackson finishes this game 3 for 4 from the field, 6 assists. How about that? Much better from him, making much better plays, looking much like a better player, right? So much better than his first game. He made some defensive plays. He had some pickpockets. He was locking up his man. Just a much better game. And it ended too early, right? Was playing great. And then he had 2 turnovers. And then all of a sudden, he was getting in a defensive stance, a lot of guys up, and then he couldn't anymore. He had a back issue. He was holding his back during live play at one point, subbed out again for Newton late. Not even that late. Subbed out again for Newton holding his back. I don't know if it's a serious injury, or if it'll hold him out of any other portion of Summer League, but he has played so much better since the first game, doing a lot of the stuff that I thought he could do in terms of getting to the rim and making plays from there, whether that's as a finisher or a passer. So a lot better from him. Well, I'll be curious what the rest of Summer League looks like, because that first game stunk, and first impressions matter, and he's been so much better since, but really behind the eight ball because of that first game. Really, though, I mean, the one miss being a buzzer beater, write it off, whatever. 6 assists in this game, you'll take that from him. Again, leading the team in that category. Tied with Newton also had 6. So much needed bounce back games for him since a rough start, but still fighting for roster positioning. Oscar Tshiebwe also in that mix. Was on a 2-way last year, currently restricted free agent. Okay, look, the second quarter Pacers, their best offense was Oscar Tshiebwe, get offensive rebound, Oscar Tshiebwe score. Oscar Tshiebwe did a lot more than that. He had a stretch, and the second quarter was the Oscar Tshiebwe show. He did that twice in a row. Then he had a jump shot. I see him work on this stuff in practice. He shoots a lot of elbow jumpers. In this game, he uncorked, I don't even remember exactly how long it was, probably a 12-footer from like the right baseline. Drilled it, swish. Awesome shot for him, given his skill set. And then dominating in the middle of the second quarter, flies up in transition. Jarace Walker running the floor with him. Perfect pass. Tshiebwe dunks. Some good plays there. And then still some head-scratching defensive moments. So he finished 7 of 9, 16 points, 4 boards, plus 8. He had a nice game. 1 turnover, 1 foul, 1 steal, 1 block. But like late in the shot clock on one play, he's 1 pass away from a shooter with like 1 on the shot clock. He dives in for help and leaves his man wide open and gives the Suns a bailout shot. Like it's just never all complete for him, even though it was a good game in general, but helped way too much off his man on that play, right? You want to see more from him in the growth in that kind of way, and he has been better than last year, right? The passing in game 1 was there. A jumper, where did that come from? Like in general, Tshiebwe is better than last year. And as the G League Rookie of the Year, certainly has some sort of future in the NBA. Like, he's a good player. But he still makes some, like, what was that kind of errors, even though he's a dominant player on the glass, a very good shooter. He saved their butts in the second quarter. In fact, his second quarter stats alone, my computer's, okay, there we go. Second quarter, he had 9 points, 3 rebounds alone. The only player with a positive plus-minus on the whole Pacers team in that quarter. And oh, by the way, those stats came in under 5 minutes. Dominant quarter from him to turn the game around. So that was huge for him, even though some hiccups the rest of the game. Win for the Pacers, 98-94. They played the Nuggets on Thursday, and then they play one more game. They're not going to be in the title game because they already have 2 losses, so they'll either play Friday or Saturday to wrap up their summer league experience. 2 more notes from this game. They changed the stuff up because no more Shepard, so the rotation changes. So in the first half, for a little bit, their new guy was Samson Froling, who, if you listen to the summer league preview show I did, I said, hey, this guy was on the first iteration, the 20-man Australia roster. His stats look really good in the NBL. Maybe this guy's going to be someone we're talking about, maybe a center who can like kind of shoot a little bit, good rebounding stats. He did not play well. Sam Froling did not have a good game. Had some loose hands with 2 turnovers, had a foul, 1 rebound, his only stat. He did hit a free throw for a point, but it didn't look great out there. He only played in the first half of this game. And then Josiah Jordan-James, who has agreed to an Exhibit 10 with the Pacers, per him telling the Knoxville News that he played 3 minutes in this game, had 1 rebound. That's it. Didn't take a shot. So if they do shorten the rotation again because someone else is pulled out in a future game, keep an eye on one or both of those guys to be playing again. This was their debuts. Froling playing a little more and getting on the scoreboard, but not the greatest debut from him. Just some he kind of plays. You want to see a little more from him. No opinion on Jordan-James in his 3 minutes. Didn't make any mistakes, though. That's always good. We'll see where this goes tomorrow. Like I said earlier, talking Canada and Andrew Nembhard with Sfandiar Barahini. He crushed it covering Canada when they were in Canada for camp, and now they've since traveled the world. I believe they're in France now. And then Friday, we'll talk Summer League Game 4, depending on how many of the key guys play. That will either be a full podcast or 2 segments. And then the third segment will be some other stuff from Vegas that I want to get to. Got to talk to James Wiseman about why he came to Indiana. Got to talk to Obi Toppin about his free agency. James Johnson was at a game. So some stuff there. And then next week, we can really wrap up Summer League. So it'll be done by next Monday, which is just crazy how fast this all has gone. So I hope you guys are enjoying these games, Midsummer Pacers action, and enjoying these shows, breaking it all down. If you can't watch them, you don't have ESPNU or whatever. Thank you all for tuning in. If I said something dumb or you just have a question, I'm on Twitter at Tony R. East. I will answer all reasonable questions, and commenting on YouTube, a good way to reach me too. I do read all of those. Back tomorrow, talking more Pacers, more international Pacers in terms of Andrew Nembhard. Till then, everybody have a wonderful day.